Rumors often start small, but this one began with a single message that no one in the galaxy was ready for. It came from a patrol ship stationed at the far edge of known space. The message was short, almost confused, and carried a tone of disbelief that even trained officers could not hide. That alone made the Galactic Council pause. Patrol officers were used to strange things. They had seen cosmic storms tear apart cruisers, meteors slicing through shields, and creatures that lived inside nebulas. None of that ever made them sound frightened. But this message did, and that was the strange part. The report said that a human ship had been spotted in deep space. That did not seem shocking at first. Humans traveled, traded, and explored just like any other species. But this message added one detail that changed everything. The patrol officer said the human ship was not using any known propulsion system. It moved without heat signatures, without leaving a trace behind, and without showing up on long-range scans until it was already close. Most ships, no matter how advanced, left some kind of trail. This one reportedly left nothing. It was as if the ship simply existed in one place, then appeared in another. Skipping the in-between space dot at first, the officer's superiors dismissed it as a sensor glitch. Space often played tricks on machines. Strange gravitational fields could distort signals. But this was only the beginning. Within days, more reports came from other patrol zones, all describing similar sightings. Different locations, different crews, but the same impossible description. A ship shaped like something humans might build, but behaving like nothing built by any known species. The Galactic Council tried to stay calm. They gathered the reports, compared them, and sent quiet inquiries to Earth. Humanity responded with confusion, claiming they had no record of such ships, and that their fleets were busy with routine missions near their own borders. They denied everything, and their denials sounded honest. But honesty did not fix the fear spreading across the council chambers. By now, whispers were running through every political hall. Some believed the humans were secretly testing new technology. Others believed the sightings were misunderstandings. A small group even thought it might be a new alien species copying human designs. No one liked that idea, because copying usually meant studying, and studying often meant preparing for something far worse. Days passed, and the rumors grew louder. What worried the council most was that every report described the same three strange things. The first was the silent movement. The second was that scanners could not detect the ship's material. Every scan returned the same frustrating signal: unknown substance. That alone caused panic among scientists. They had cataloged almost everything in the galaxy. Even the rarest metals and most exotic particles had names. Yet this ship's hull seemed beyond their knowledge. The third strange detail made everyone even more uneasy. According to witnesses, the ship did not look new. Instead, it looked old. Not damaged, not rusty, but ancient. As if its design came from a forgotten era of the galaxy. Smooth surfaces, long curves, and symbols no one recognized. Many species kept archives of old civilizations that once existed. Some had vanished quietly, others through disasters, and some through wars no one remembered well. But none of those old designs matched what the patrol officers described. The council began calling closed-door meetings. No translators were allowed inside. No public screens, no recordings. They debated for hours, trying to understand the meaning behind the sightings. What troubled them most was that humans were known for innovation, creativity, and a strong desire to explore. If humanity had found something old and powerful, something that even the council did not know existed, then the balance of power in the galaxy could change overnight. But no one wanted to assume the worst. They planned to wait for more evidence. But the galaxy did not give them time. The next report came from a surveying team near a quiet star system. They had been studying mineral deposits when one of the crew members noticed a large shadow drifting through space. At first, they thought it was a rock, but the movement was too smooth. When they zoomed in, they saw a ship floating silently. No lights, no signals, no signs of crew activity. It looked empty, abandoned, almost like a ghost drifting through the void. The survey team tried to scan it, but the moment they activated their scanner, the entire system shut down. Not just the scanner, their navigation, lights, communications, and life support all flickered. Some even turned off completely for a few seconds. Panic spread through the crew. They had never seen a passive ship cause such an effect. Only dangerous weapons or massive energy fields could do that, and this silent ship was not emitting anything at all. Then something happened that made the crew freeze in fear. The strange ship, which had been floating motionless, suddenly shifted position. Not slowly, not accelerating, but instantly. In less than a blink, it moved from its drifting path and appeared behind their vessel. The survey team had no idea how it did that. No warping, no flash, no sound. One moment it was in front of them, the next moment behind. As if space itself bent to its will, the crew scrambled to activate emergency systems and flee. Their ship jumped away using the closest safe route, leaving behind nothing but confusion and fear. Once they were at a safe distance, they tried to send the recorded data to the Galactic Council. But that created a new problem. The recordings were corrupted. Every image of the ship was blurred, glitched, or missing. Audio logs had strange interference. But the crew's testimony remained the same. They knew what they saw. When the council received this report, the chamber went silent. This was no longer a rumor. This was no longer a misunderstanding. Something was happening, and it centered around humanity. The council reached out to Earth again, and again humans denied any involvement. Their military spokespeople claimed they had no ships like that. They even asked the council for more information, sounding just as confused as everyone else. But the council was not convinced. Someone somewhere was hiding something. Either the humans were lying, or something far more unusual was happening in the galaxy. The idea that humans could unlock old technology was frightening. But the idea that humanity might stumble onto something ancient without understanding it was even more frightening. Across the galaxy, leaders began to prepare quietly. Some strengthened border patrols. Some instructed scientists to run deeper scans of their territories. Some started gathering fleets in secret bases, just in case the worst happened. But there was still no proof of danger, only whispers of impossible ships drifting through the void. Yet even with all these precautions, the galaxy still had no idea how quickly everything was about to change. More sightings would come, more reports, more fear. But for now, the council tried to convince themselves these were isolated incidents. They wanted to believe that the humans were still the same species the galaxy had known for centuries, ambitious, curious, sometimes reckless, but never secretive or threatening. But deep down, every leader felt the same quiet fear. If humanity had truly discovered something ancient, then the galaxy was standing at the edge of a story far larger than anyone understood. And the rumors that started as a whisper were only the beginning of something far more powerful. The galaxy had already been nervous after the first wave of strange reports. But the real panic began with the incident in the neutral zone. It started as an ordinary day for a small convoy made up of research vessels and light escort ships. They were on a simple mission: study minerals, check radiation levels, and make sure the area was safe for future travel routes. Nothing about the assignment suggested danger. It was the kind of mission crews usually took to relax between difficult duties. The convoy was moving slowly, collecting data, while most of the crew members chatted casually or ran routine scans. Then the officer monitoring long-range sensors noticed something odd. There was a faint signal drifting in the dark. It was not sharp, not bright, not even threatening. It was more like a soft shadow, barely visible. They almost ignored it, thinking it was a stray rock or a cluster of dust. But something about its shape felt too smooth, too clean. Rocks didn't drift like that dot they zoomed in. Their eyes widened a little. It wasn't a rock. It was a ship. But it had no lights, no transmission, no beacon, nothing to identify it. It looked abandoned, yet perfectly untouched. If it had belonged to any known species, it would have shown a color pattern, a heat signature, or at least some shield dust around it. But this thing just floated quietly, like a forgotten relic. The escort captain ordered a closer look. The convoy slowly approached, keeping a safe distance. The ship remained still, almost as if it were asleep. Some of the crew whispered that it might be a trap, but others said it looked more like a derelict vessel someone left behind centuries ago. None of them expected what happened next. The moment they tried to scan the ship, everything went wrong. The scanner activated for less than a second before the system overloaded. Every screen on the bridge flickered at once. Navigation shut down. Life support dimmed. Communications went silent. Even the artificial gravity wavered for a moment, making the crew grab onto rails so they wouldn't float away. The whole convoy felt as if the ship they were scanning was pushing something back, like it didn't want to be examined. Some crew members shouted in panic, trying to bring their systems back. Others stared at the strange ship, which still floated silently, not reacting at all. It had done nothing, emitted nothing, yet it somehow shut down every system they had. After a few seconds, their lights returned. Gravity returned. The screens rebooted. Life support stabilized. But the fear remained. No one wanted to try scanning it again. The crew members looked at their captain, waiting for an order, but even the captain had no idea what to say. Then the impossible happened. The mysterious ship moved, not slowly, not with acceleration, not with any kind of visible propulsion. It simply shifted position in an instant. One moment it was in front of the convoy. The next moment it was behind them. No flash, no warp trace, no sound. Space didn't ripple, and their sensors picked up nothing. It was as if the ship ignored the rules of movement entirely. Everyone froze. Even seasoned officers who had lived through dangerous missions were too stunned to speak. Some thought it might attack next. Others thought it was observing them. But the ship didn't do anything. It simply hovered behind them like a quiet watcher. The captain knew they had to leave. Staying there meant risking another system failure or something much worse. Without waiting for more data, the convoy kicked in emergency thrusters and jumped away at the safest possible speed. They didn't even care about the mission anymore. They just needed distance. They needed safety. Once they reached a stable location, the crew tried to send the footage to the Galactic Council. That's when they discovered a new problem. All their recordings were corrupted. The videos were grainy, flickering, or blank. The audio was filled with static, as if something had erased the evidence on purpose. Only the personal testimonies of the crew remained intact. The council had no clear image, no technical data, nothing except frightened voices describing something that should not exist. The moment the council received the report, they called an emergency session. Representatives from many species gathered, all speaking at once, all demanding answers. Some blamed faulty equipment. Some claimed it was a human experiment gone wrong. Some said it was a new species testing unknown technology. A few thought it might be a relic from a lost civilization. But one thing bothered everyone. The ship looked human. The council invited human ambassadors to the chamber and asked them to explain. But the humans looked confused. They denied everything firmly. They said no such ship belonged to them. They said they had no technology capable of instant movement. They said their fleets could not hide their signatures. And they said they had no records of ships built with unknown materials. Some council members believed them. Others did not. The uncertainty only made the room more tense. Every species understood one hard truth. If a ship like that existed and belonged to humans, it would change the balance of the galaxy. If it did not belong to humans, the situation might be even worse. The convoy incident spread quickly. Every major news network discussed it. Military forces reviewed security protocols. Scientists argued nonstop, trying to understand how a vessel could shut down systems without emitting anything. Some believed the ship wasn't disabling the convoy, it was defending itself automatically. Others said it wasn't defense at all, but a side effect of its presence. While experts argued, more quiet reports began appearing from distant sectors. Sightings of strange shapes moving silently. Odd sensor readings. Ships that appeared and disappeared in impossible ways. Most of the sightings were unconfirmed, but they all shared similar descriptions. Then another detail emerged, something that added more fear to the situation. The unknown ships were always seen in areas humans recently explored. Not human borders, not human territory, but places where human survey teams had traveled earlier. It made some species suspect humanity had discovered something and was hiding it. Others wondered if humans had awakened something ancient without realizing it. Inside the council hall, arguments grew louder. Some demanded strict monitoring of all human activity. Others said provoking humanity without proof would create a dangerous conflict. A few even suggested forming joint teams to investigate the sightings, but no one could agree on who should lead it. Outside the political halls, people across the galaxy whispered different theories. Some believed humans found old technology. Some believed a forgotten species had returned. Some feared it was a warning. And some thought the galaxy was witnessing the beginning of a massive shift, one that no one could predict. The neutral zone incident became the center of everything. It was no longer just a rumor. It was the first confirmed encounter with a ship that broke the rules of science. Even though no one was harmed, the fear came from not knowing what the ship wanted. Was it waiting? Watching? Searching? No one could say. The convoy survivors were interviewed many times. Their voices always carried the same mix of fear and disbelief. They kept repeating that the ship felt old, like something built long before any modern species existed. They said it didn't behave like a weapon or a scout. It behaved more like something operating on instructions that had nothing to do with them. The council now understood that something big was coming. The galaxy was no longer in a stable state. Trust was thin, communication was tense, and the unknown ships were appearing too often to ignore. But the real shock had not come yet. The strange encounters were only the start. Soon, humanity would call for a meeting, one that would force every species to face the truth. And the real panic would begin when the humans revealed what they had discovered. For weeks, the galaxy lived in a strange silence, even though everyone was speaking. Every species talked about the mysterious sightings, but no one truly understood what was happening. The reports kept coming, each one describing the same thing: ships that looked human, but moved in ways no ship should be able to move. Some appeared out of nowhere. Some vanished without light or sound. Some drifted like ancient guardians. And every time someone tried to scan them, the scans failed. In the middle of all this confusion, something unexpected happened. A message arrived from Earth. It did not come through normal diplomatic channels. It came through a direct emergency line, one usually reserved for galaxy-wide disasters. The message was simple. Humanity requests a meeting with all major species. Location: Outer Ring Assembly Point. Time: 3 cycles from now. There was no explanation, no reason given, no warning. Just a direct call for a galaxy-wide meeting. The Galactic Council felt uneasy. Humanity rarely asked for large gatherings like this. When they did, it usually meant something important or something dangerous. Many leaders wondered if this meeting was connected to the strange ships. Others feared a political trap. But refusing the invitation was impossible. If humanity had discovered something powerful, ignoring them could put every species at risk. So the preparations began. Fleets were assembled. Escorts were assigned. Diplomats practiced their speeches. And behind all the official work, quiet whispers spread through every ship leaving for the meeting. People wondered if humanity was about to reveal a new weapon. Some even feared they would announce a claim over parts of the galaxy. When the day came, the meeting location was filled with ships of all shapes and sizes. Massive cruisers from strong empires. Small, elegant vessels from peaceful species. Research craft. Patrol ships. They all gathered in silence, waiting to understand why the humans had called them. But the humans did not arrive in the usual way. Normally, ships entering the assembly point would show their warp signatures from far away. The space around them would ripple slightly as they slowed down. Lights would flash, shields would hum. Everyone expected to see that same familiar process. Instead, reality itself seemed to bend. One moment, the space around the assembly point was empty. The next moment, without warning, something immense appeared. A huge shadow formed first, stretching across the viewports of dozens of ships. Then the shape became clear, an enormous vessel, larger than anything present. No lights, no engines, no sound. It simply existed where nothing had been seconds earlier. The alien crews stared in disbelief. If this ship belonged to humans, then humanity had jumped far beyond normal technology. But before anyone could react, more shadows appeared. One after another, giant ships slid into reality without any warp trails, without energy traces, without the usual bright flashes. They simply arrived. Panic spread through the assembly. Some ships raised shields automatically. Others powered their weapons silently. A few tried to retreat, only to stop when they realized they would be too slow. Any attempt to run would look like aggression. And no species wanted to spark a conflict with ships that could appear out of nowhere. Then a message was broadcast across the entire assembly point. "This is Earth. Thank you for coming." The voice was calm, steady, and respectful. But the message did nothing to ease the tension that filled every ship. A smaller human vessel finally approached, but even this smaller one was larger than most battle cruisers present. It glided beside the ancient-looking giant ships like a child walking between towering statues. The smaller vessel opened a communication channel. "Please do not be alarmed. These ships are under our control. We ask your patience so we can explain." But expecting calm was difficult. Every captain, every ambassador, every soldier in the assembly point felt the same tightness in their chest. They were staring at ships that did not follow the laws of physics. Ships that looked too perfect, too smooth, too silent. Their surfaces had patterns no one could identify. Their outlines suggested they were built for something far beyond ordinary travel. Many leaders exchanged quiet glances through their screens, confused and worried. They had expected maybe a demonstration or a diplomatic announcement. They had not expected this. The humans finally opened the main communication channel, connecting to all ships at once. "We know about the sightings," the human representative began. "We know what your patrol crews saw. We know many of you are afraid. Today, we will explain the truth." Inside the alien ships, everyone leaned forward. The tension turned into silent anticipation. What were these ships? Why did they exist? Why did they behave like something alive rather than something built? The human representative continued. 3 cycles ago, our deep space survey team discovered unusual signals coming from a region inside our own star system. a region we believed we had fully explored. The signals were faint, but they did not match anything we had seen before. When our team investigated, they found something hidden beneath layers of space debris. The representative paused, letting the galaxy listen. They found a structure, or a vault. The word vault created ripples of confusion across the assembly. Inside the vault, the representative said, "We discovered old technology. Not human. Not from any species known in the galaxy. We are still studying it. We do not understand everything about it. But the technology included these ships." The assembly was stunned. The ships were not human-made, but humans had found them. The representative continued, "We want to make this clear. We did not build these. We found them. And once activated, they bonded to our systems. They respond to us. They follow our commands. But they are not our design." Inside the council ships, diplomats exchanged concerned looks. It meant humans now controlled technology from an unknown civilization, possibly one older than every species in the assembly. The representative's voice softened. "We called you here not to threaten anyone, but to prevent misunderstanding. Some of your patrol crews saw these ships. Some tried to scan them. This caused fear. We understand that. So we chose to show everything openly. The human ships, those giant silent giants, remained still, as if listening too. We wish for peace," the human said. "We did not seek this discovery. We do not know how these ships will change the balance of the galaxy. But we want cooperation, not conflict." Even with those words, fear still lingered. The ships behind the human vessel were too powerful, too strange, too unpredictable. They looked like they could travel through stars, across dimensions, or into unknown regions without effort. But what truly stunned everyone was what happened next. The human representative activated a visual feed, showing the inside of the vault where the ships were found. The footage revealed massive chambers carved out of dark metal. Symbols covered the wall, symbols no one recognized. The ships rested in their cradles, untouched by time. It looked like they had been waiting for someone to find them. The representative ended the message with one final statement. "We share this information because secrecy benefits no one. If anyone has knowledge about this civilization, we ask you to come forward. We want to understand what we have discovered." The assembly point remained silent for several long moments. Every species felt the same mixture of relief and fear. Humanity had not created these impossible vessels, but humanity had awakened something ancient, something powerful, something that now followed their commands. And with that, the galaxy realized that the balance of power had already shifted. Even before anyone understood how. The meeting broke into quiet discussions. Some leaders whispered about alliances. Some wondered if the ships were safe. Some feared the old civilization might return. And some simply stared at the massive vessels, feeling their hearts tighten. Whatever humans had found, it was not ordinary, and this was only the beginning. The meeting should have calmed the galaxy, but instead, it made things even more tense. Every species went home with the same uneasy thought sitting heavy in their chest. Humanity now controlled ships that were not made by any known civilization. They were ancient, powerful, silent, and impossible to understand. The galaxy did not fear humans, they feared what humans had found. And fear has a way of spreading fast. Within only a few cycles, rumors began again. Some species whispered that the humans were hiding more information. Others claimed the ships could erase entire fleets in seconds. Some even believed humanity had woken up a sleeping force that might follow commands now, only to turn against them later. Inside Earth's government rooms, that same fear existed. Humans were not calm. They were not relaxed. They were not pretending to be powerful. They were just as confused as the rest of the galaxy. They still had scientists working day and night inside the vault, trying to understand how the ancient ships even operated. They didn't know who built them. They didn't know how old they were. They didn't know why they were hidden inside the solar system. The most unsettling detail was that the ships seemed to act half on their own. They followed commands, yes, but they also reacted to things without being told. When the convoy in the neutral zone tried to scan them, the ancient ship shut down the scanner automatically, almost like a reflex. Humans didn't like that. They didn't know if the ships were protecting themselves or protecting whoever controlled them. There was no way to tell which dot, and so Earth did something unusual. They started sending small teams into the ancient ships themselves. Not soldiers, not engineers, but calm, observant specialists who could keep their minds steady even under pressure. The goal was simple: understand the ship's behavior from the inside. Inside one of those ancient vessels, everything felt strange. The walls were smooth, and when touched, they reacted with a soft glow, as if the ship could feel each movement. There were no buttons, no levers, no screens. When a human tried to think of turning on lights, the lights would simply brighten. When they thought of walking deeper, doors opened. That meant the ships were reading human thoughts. This discovery spread quickly through Earth's leadership, and it troubled them deeply. Technology that reacted to thought was far beyond anything humans had achieved. It meant the civilization that built the ships had been thousands, maybe millions of years ahead. But that wasn't the part that scared people. The part that scared them was the question that no one could answer. Why did these ships respond to humans? Why not to another species? Why not to all species? Why only humans? That question sat inside every leader's mind like a heavy weight. And as the galaxy watched Earth nervously, humanity itself began to worry that they were caught in something far too big for them. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, military forces began to shift quietly. No one wanted to admit it, but most species started placing their ships closer to human borders. They said it was for monitoring. Some said it was precaution. Others said it was to ease communication. Everyone knew the truth. They were scared. Even species that were friendly to humans kept a safe distance. It wasn't hostility. It was fear of the unknown. The idea that humanity now commanded ships older than recorded history made everyone nervous. The quieter species, the thinkers, the scholars were the ones who reacted most strongly. They began studying their ancient records, trying to find any mention of a lost civilization that hid ships inside Earth's system. Some found myths, some found broken stone tablets, and some found nothing. But the myths they did find shared one detail: an old star-traveling power that vanished suddenly, leaving behind things too advanced to understand. Most scholars dismissed these stories as tales made for children. But now, those same stories forced scholars to sit in dark rooms, reviewing them again and again, trying to understand if the galaxy was dealing with that same forgotten power. While the galaxy panicked quietly, Earth debated a new question. Should they show more of the ships? Some humans argued that by showing everything, the galaxy would relax. They would see that humans did not want to fight. Others argued that showing more could create more fear. The more the galaxy saw, the more they might worry. In the middle of this debate, something happened that pushed everything forward faster than expected. One day, deep in the vault, a human researcher noticed that one of the ancient ships was activating on its own. Soft lines of light spread across its surface. Symbols slowly glowed. The floor beneath it trembled slightly. No one had touched anything. No one gave any command. It was waking up. Humans rushed to study the activation. They thought it was reacting to something nearby. But no reason appeared. No external event. No threat. Nothing unusual in the vault. The ship simply woke up. For the next 4 hours, The ancient vessel remained lit with patterns that moved across its hull like quiet waves. Humans watched, confused and amazed. They captured every detail, every reading, even though the ship made half of their tools malfunction. They didn't dare stop recording. They could feel something important happening. When the ship finally dimmed, it left one last symbol glowing near its center. A symbol that looked like a star with a circle wrapped around it. No one knew what it meant, but when the footage reached the Galactic Council, panic spread instantly. Across dozens of species, that same symbol appeared in old ruins, on forgotten temples, on fragments of old stone carvings, on the walls of lost archives. They didn't know what the symbol meant, but all species agreed on one thing. It belonged to an ancient civilization that vanished so long ago that even myths barely described them. Some called them the first travelers. Some called them the architects. Some called them the ones who moved between stars. Now, that symbol was glowing on a ship humans controlled, and that changed everything. Across the galaxy, leaders called secret meetings. Some believed humans were chosen. Others believed humans had accidentally awakened something dangerous. Some feared the ancient ships might carry old instructions that humanity did not understand. Others wondered if the lost civilization had planned all this planned for humans to find their ships. Fear once again grew. But the worst moment came when a new message arrived at Earth's diplomatic center. A message from one of the oldest species in the galaxy. Their tone was not friendly, not angry, but heavy, almost as if they were speaking through worry. The message said only this: do not activate more ships. You do not know what you are waking. That single sentence spread through Earth's leadership like ice. It confirmed every fear they had. It meant someone in the galaxy, someone old, knew more about these ships than they had ever admitted. Humanity tried to reach out, asking for more information. The old species refused to say anything more, and so humanity was left standing between fear from the galaxy and fear of the ships themselves. They had something powerful, but possibly dangerous. They had something ancient, but possibly unpredictable. The galaxy started watching Earth like never before. Every movement, every flight, every action. Everyone held their breath, waiting for what came next. Little did they know, the real panic had not started yet, because the next discovery humanity made would shake the galaxy in a way no one expected. The galaxy had gone silent, not because there was nothing left to say, but because every leader, every council, every fleet commander was now trying to understand what they had seen. The human ships that appeared during the summit were still being talked about in every corner of the galactic network. Some called them impossible. Others called them warnings. A few whispered that humans had crossed some invisible line that no other species even knew existed. But humans did not respond to the noise. They simply continued moving forward with a calmness that made the galaxy even more uneasy. As the days passed, the same 3 ships remained in quiet orbit over the neutral sector. No messages, no demands, no threats. The silence created more panic than any announcement could. Many species believed something big was coming. Others thought humans were testing them. The truth was much simpler. Humans were finishing something. Something they had started long before the galaxy had even noticed them. Inside one of the human ships, a group of observers watched the galaxy's broadcasts. They had access to everything: public council statements, secret meetings, diplomatic conversations. The reaction was exactly what they had expected. Every species was trying to predict the next human move. Still, the humans inside the ship showed no excitement. They were focused on a different goal. Their mission was not to intimidate the galaxy, but to protect their world from future threats. The ship's interior was quiet, filled with soft lights and humming machines. A calm voice spoke, explaining newly decoded data from a far region of space. Humans had discovered something unusual, something that did not belong to any known species. Whatever it was moving toward the center of the galaxy at a slow but steady pace. This was the real reason humans had unveiled their hidden fleet. Not to scare others, but to prepare for something unknown. In the Galactic Union chambers, meetings were happening nonstop. Leaders argued back and forth about how to handle the situation. Some wanted to open direct communication with humans. Others wanted to propose a joint investigation into the unknown signal. But many were too nervous to approach humans at all. The memory of the impossible ships still haunted them. They had never seen engines that could fold space so effortlessly. They had never seen hulls that reacted like living metal. And they had never seen vessels that carried energy signatures completely outside their scientific understanding. One of the oldest council members tried to calm the room, reminding them that panic would only make things worse. But even she struggled to hide her concern. The galaxy had always been predictable. Now it wasn't. Humans had changed the rules without trying to. The council eventually decided to send a message carefully worded, respectful and humble, but still, the message remained unsent for days. No one dared to push the final button. This was how nervous they were. Meanwhile, on Earth, things were different. People continued their normal lives. Children went to school. Workers did their jobs. Cities moved at their usual rhythm. The average person did not know the details of the human fleet, nor did they understand the scale of the technology protecting them. That was intentional. The human government believed fear only grows when people know too much too quickly. So the truth was shared slowly, calmly, and only with those who needed it. A small research group on Earth studied the unknown signal more deeply. They discovered patterns, movements, and shapes hidden inside the transmissions. The signal was intelligent, but it did not resemble any form of communication the galaxy had ever recorded. It was calm, consistent, almost gentle, but its origin was from a region where no life should exist. This made the situation even more mysterious. Finally, after weeks of silence, the human ships sent a single message to the Galactic Union. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a demand. It was an invitation to talk. The message was simple, written in neutral language, asking for a peaceful meeting. The council was shocked. Many of them expected humans to act superior or distant, but instead, the message felt almost friendly. The meeting took place in a secure neutral zone. Only a small group of council representatives attended, chosen carefully to avoid creating unnecessary tension. When the humans arrived, they did not arrive with grand displays of power. Their ship landed quietly, without dramatic lights or noise. It was a calm approach, showing respect rather than dominance. When the humans stepped out, the council noticed something surprising. They looked completely normal. No intimidating armor, no strange suits, no expressions of superiority. They walked as calmly as any visitor. Their presence was steady, balanced, almost peaceful. This confused the council even more, because they could not understand how the same species that built impossible ships could appear so ordinary. One of the human representatives spoke first. His voice was soft but clear. He explained that humans had not meant to cause fear. They had revealed their hidden fleet only because the unknown signal required attention. He carefully explained that humanity had been watching the galaxy for many years, learning quietly, avoiding interference. They built their advanced ships only because they felt the galaxy was too unstable and unpredictable. It was their way of ensuring their survival without relying on others. The council members listened with deep focus. For the first time, they understood that humans were not seeking dominance. They were seeking safety. The unknown signal was the real issue, not humans. The representatives shared data, observations, and early predictions. The signal was coming closer. Slowly, but definitely closer. The council asked many questions. They wanted to know if the signal was dangerous. The human representative answered honestly. They did not know. It could be harmless. It could be a new form of life. Or it could be something that required preparation. Humans believed that working together was the best option. This was their reason for revealing the hidden ships to build trust before something bigger arrived. The council took a long time to respond. But eventually, their answer surprised the humans. They agreed to form a joint investigation team. For the first time in history, humans and other species would work together on a challenge bigger than politics, bigger than conflict, bigger than fear. It was a moment that changed the entire direction of the galaxy. As the meeting ended, the human fleet moved back into silent readiness. They did not patrol aggressively. They did not move through other territories. They simply waited, prepared but calm, watching the unknown signal with careful eyes. The galaxy slowly adjusted to this new reality, a reality where humans were no longer seen as unpredictable outsiders, but as partners facing the unknown. And as days turned into weeks, the signal continued approaching. It was still far, but it was no longer just a mystery. It was something the entire galaxy now prepared for together. The panic that once filled the Union chambers faded gradually, replaced with a sense of unity that had never existed before. Humanity had changed the galaxy once again, not by force, not by fear, but by stepping forward at the right moment. The story did not end with battle or destruction. It ended with cooperation, understanding, and the hope that whatever was coming, they would face it together. The humans quietly returned to their fleet, confident and steady, watching the stars with the same patience that had guided them for years. And in that quiet space above the galaxy, the impossible ships waited silent guardians for a future that was still unfolding.